Builders dump stuff in front of my office door. Builder's lunch now paints the walls. I work alone in this tiny office attached to a bigger space in a public building that's getting renovated. My office is basically the back room of a larger office area, so I have to walk through the front space to reach my desk every day. Building management was supposed to notify me if they rented out that front space so they could build a temporary wall, but they didn't bother because the construction crew was only there temporarily. Now the front area is the construction crew's headquarters, and I'm walking through their disaster zone twice a day. After 2 weeks, it looked like someone emptied a hardware store onto the floor. Light fixtures blocking the walkway, tool bags everywhere, random chairs, extension cords, and an actual toilet bowl still in the box sitting in the corner. Their main site office was in another building, so nobody was supervising these guys. They started using the space as their lunchroom because it was closer. Every day I'd squeeze past their junk while 12 guys crammed in there eating, and I'd hear them complaining about having to work. I finally asked the foreman to keep the walkway clear. He barely looked up from his sandwich and said, "Yeah, mate, we'll sort it out," in that tone that meant he had zero intention of doing anything. Nothing changed. I took pictures and sent them to building management. When I came in Monday, one of the younger guys smirked at me and said, "We cleaned up a bit around here for you, mate. No need to thank us." They'd shoved some boxes to the side and that was it. 3 days later, it was worse. I started hearing them mutter, "There she goes," when I walked through. One guy called me a stuck-up public servant even though I work for a private insurance company. They'd decided I was the enemy for wanting to access my own office. Thursday morning, I was working on a massive report due at 3. Around 11, I needed coffee desperately and walked to my door. Through the window, I saw a full bowl of spaghetti sitting on the floor directly in front of my door. 3 guys were eating across the room with their backs to me, laughing. Someone had put it there as a joke. I could tell from how they were positioned, waiting to see my reaction. Something in me snapped. I opened the door at normal speed, looking straight ahead like I was distracted, and my foot hit the bowl. Spaghetti exploded everywhere. Red sauce sprayed across the carpet, up the wall, all over the desk where 2 guys were sitting. Noodles landed on their laptops. Sauce splattered their shirts. One guy got it in his hair. They jumped up yelling, "What the hell, mate? Watch where you're going." I lost it. "What the hell are you doing leaving a bowl of spaghetti on the floor in front of a door? This is an office, not a dump. You guys are worse than teenagers and I'm sick of it." My voice shook because I never yell, but 3 weeks of this came pouring out. I told them I was done being nice, that I'd start kicking their stuff aside and didn't care what broke. One guy mumbled, "All right, calm down, we'll clean it," in that defensive tone like I was overreacting to their harmless joke. I grabbed my bag and left to get coffee before I said something worse. When I came back 20 minutes later, the room was empty. They'd wiped off their laptops but left the spaghetti everywhere else. Sauce stains on the wall, noodles in the carpet. They'd cleaned what affected them and bailed. I went to my office expecting I'd get in trouble. 2 hours later, an email from building management popped up and my stomach dropped. The building manager had inspected after the builders reported an incident of aggression and property damage. But management had already gotten complaints from cleaning staff about the mess, plus the crew had blocked a fire exit in another part of the building the week before. When the manager saw the space was worse than ever, and the builders admitted leaving food on the floor in front of my door, that was it. The email said the construction company had to professionally clean everything and pay for it, and I wasn't being held responsible. If the mess came back, I should contact them directly because the builders were on their final warning. Management saw this as a liability issue. If I got hurt tripping over their stuff, the building could get sued. Next morning, the place was spotless. Tool bags on actual shelves, walkway completely clear, toilet bowl gone. None of the guys made eye contact. One mumbled, "Morning," and that was it. They'd been chewed out by their boss and couldn't afford to lose the contract. The space stayed clean for the remaining 2 months of renovation. Turns out 1 bowl of spaghetti and some actual consequences was all it took.